Today marks the 15th year where Indigenous communities and supporters gather for an annual remembrance of those who've gone missing and have been murdered across Canada. May 5th is Red Dress Day in Canada, an art display that signifies First Nations women and girls who have disappeared. The long-standing crisis sparked a national inquiry and report calling for more than 200 recommendations for justice and reconciliation. Jason Gaidola joins us live tonight with more. Good evening, Jason.
Good evening, Manisa. The government of Canada says more than 6 of 10, or 63% of Indigenous women have experienced physical or sexual assault in their lifetime, a common precursor to disappearances and homicides. While lives are being honored today, calls for more action are also growing louder.
Red Dress Day, a day to remember and to honor missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls and exploited Indigenous peoples. I ask you to participate in your community events to honor, to respect, and to never forget.
A call to never forget seems more evident than ever as Canada mourns and honors the women, girls, and others from First Nations communities who never returned home.
Where can she be?
May 5th is Red Dress Day, the National Day of Awareness and Remembrance for those who went missing and also murdered in Canada. The bright red dress began as an art installation in 2010. The empty garment memorializes the lives that were lost to violence. 15 years later, the dress remains a national symbol of the crisis.
One thing I would like to tell people that are trying to create awareness and support: remember the families and loved ones in the communities that you are in. Make sure to include them.
According to the Canadian government, 63% of Indigenous women have experienced physical or sexual assault in their life and are 6 times more likely to be murdered, more than any other group in the country.
In Ontario, the proportion of femicide victims who are Indigenous has steadily increased since the National Inquiry in 2019. This violence is rooted in the painful legacy of colonialization and ongoing systemic injustice.
In 2016, a national inquiry into the crisis was launched, and in 2019, a report of more than 200 recommendations for justice were laid out for federal officials.
There are 231 calls to justice that came out of the report in 2019. And unfortunately, we were the victims of circumstance with the pandemic happening the very next year. What's happened is not only has reconciliation stalled, it's actually regressed.
Since then, many feel Indigenous communities have not become a priority, and matters involving racism, the residential school system, foster care, and a lack of meaningful searches for those missing have become contributors to the crisis. Most recent cases include demands to search for human remains of missing women in a Winnipeg landfill back in 2022.
To every one of you that said no, to every one of you that didn't believe in us, do better. Do better. How could you?
This year, partial remains of both Mercedes Myron and Morgan Harris were confirmed at a landfill search signed off by Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew.
And we saw that with the Prairie Green landfill, how hard those families had to fight to have those family members found in that landfill. And they thought, oh, it's too much work. It's too much money. And all it took was one politician who had the will and put that importance on it. And they accomplished their goal.
Today, a number of Indigenous-led groups announced that they're going to try and launch a project where organizations can assist in data collection on those missing and murdered. They hope it will lead to the creation of a national database.